All right. Welcome to this week's podcast with the Improv group is here talking about a lot of things. See? Should be on this camera. So
bye.
She just waved. Yeah, it was good. It was good. We're supposed to be on this camera. Where's our engineer? Just kidding. It's me. I'm right here. Are we ready?
Sure.
We've already begun. I'm not even gonna restart it.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot to learn out there for those of you that are trying to do multiple things at once. Okay. So anyway, welcome to this week's podcast. I have with me a few special guests. These were all people who performed in the improv show till last Friday.
Yes.
Or was it 2 Fridays ago? Was it just last Friday? March 7th.
Yeah, last
Good.
Friday.
Mm-hmm. Let's use dates. Dates help to figure that out. So if everybody could just go around, introduce yourself, say hello to our audience. You can look at the camera if you want, but most importantly, speak into the microphone.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So my name's Jon Artigo, by the way. I was there, and I'm here now. Steve?
My name is Steve Cobb. I was there, and I am happy to say that we had, I think, 115 people there in the audience, which is a nice crowd, and they were very, very fun crowd. Good crowd.
Yeah, very good crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Darcy Eikenberg, and I was there, and it was my first time, so it was awesome.
And I'm Bill Owens, and I was there as well. I think I made 116.
I don't think that it counts, Bill.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh.
Did you pay for a ticket?
Oh, did I have to?
No, you didn't need to, but that's why we don't count you.
Okay. I got it figured out.
Yeah. Remember when I said Bill is the slow one?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all checking.
Don't say anything to him.
I can hear you. I have these earphones on.
Oh, good call. It's true. He does, and he can hear, and we're not lying.
He's a good listener, too.
He is.
You know, I will say, John, somebody asked me if we get comps to the show, and I said, that would be great. I just bought my wife a ticket to come see me for the 27th time in a couple of years. So if we do get comps, that would have been good to know in advance. We do not, by the way, so don't ask me for free tickets.
I think I asked that question.
Oh,
yeah.
that was you.
Yeah. You never know. You know, we could do a thing like where if we break 500, everybody gets a free ticket that they could use toward the next show.
Yeah, that's doable.
I think the fire marshal would probably have a problem with that as well.
Yeah, maybe 500 piggyback rides happening.
Or have a free ticket, and we could fill the house at 500, maybe. So
yeah, maybe we can do that. Yeah, we'll try. So anyway, I wanted to get us together and do a debrief of the show. I think we'll kind of unpack the show over a couple of episodes coming off of the show, and then we'll start preparing for our next show, which is April 25th, I believe.
It is, yeah. Yep. Friday, April 25th.
Friday, April 25th is going to be our next show. So we have some rehearsals between now and then. We just got done tonight doing our improv jam, which is our once a month we do a free improv jam at the Mo Auditorium. And we had some new people tonight, and it was cool.
They were great, too.
They were
Amazing.
great. Yeah, they were great. It was fun, and the improv jam is great for anybody who's, oh, I used to do improv back in the day, or oh, I love performing, or hey, I'm like 10 years old and I want to get into this stuff, but I haven't taken a class yet. I mean, it's good for everybody, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. And the people that came today were phenomenal. They were really good. Nobody was afraid. They all jumped right in there. They had a good time, and they loved it.
And shameless plug, did I hear you mention something about classes?
Sure. Yeah, there are classes for improv. In fact, there's children's classes Monday and Tuesday nights from 5:30 to 7:30, and there is an adult class from 6 to 8 on Wednesday nights. So if you go to artsbonita.org, you can sign up for those classes and have some fun.
and taught by you.
Taught by me, yes, yep. And often I bring a guest teacher or performer in, so who knows, maybe one of you.
And Steve's a good teacher. I've learned a lot.
Like what?
I've learned
Pressure.
It's
Yeah,
not an
pressure,
improv. It's not an
pressure,
improv game. It's a
pressure.
real question.
No, I haven't done. I did improv a little bit when I was in high school, maybe a little bit in college, and I was coming in totally blind. But the way that the sort of the gentle way that Steve would kind of guide us through, but still, make me feel really comfortable and make me feel like it was because no place else in my life can I just get up and mess up? Like everything else has to be prepared and organized. So just to be able to have that kind of guidance and just encouragement, I think that's been important for me. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just so you guys know, so Darcy is somebody who came to our audition that we had back in January, and then we invited her to just practice with us, with no promise to perform or anything like that. And she was very consistent, and she was obviously from the start, we were impressed with her listening ability, her sort of no fear approach to things, even though she'll tell you she may have had a lot of fear. But it was appreciative to see that. I was like, this is great. And then for her to come and do the rehearsals and then to do the show without having like performed that kind of stuff before, it was good to see.
Yep.
Great job.
Good group of people who take good care of each other. So,
Kudos. You did great.
thanks.
So, Bill, just for you, what was it like for you coming off of, you used to do a lot of shows here with Steve and different performances. So what was this like for you when it's been a little while to pop back up there?
One great thing about improv, there's a lot of things, is no show is the same. So, whether this was my 10th show in a row or it was my first show in some time, and Steve, geez, it's been
I think
a couple years.
Pre-COVID, baby.
Yeah. So it was great. I still get those, kind of nervousness kind of feeling, which is, I've always said, if you're not nervous, then something's wrong. So, but it was great. I think the crowd really kind of supported us, and I really enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me why I like improv so much.
Cool.
I heard somebody say one time, Bill, that if you're not nervous, it's not that important to you. And that kind of sticks with me a little. So, even though we've done it a bunch, we don't get nervous. We still get a little bit of that butterflies, and and that's good. That keeps you, on your toes. So,
well, you always want it to go well. Like, it's improv, so you don't know. There's not a script that you're going off of where you're like, ooh, this scene is always really funny, and like this line, kills every time it's delivered. It's you practice an improv. For those of you that don't know, you go like, well, what do you rehearse for? It's improv. You're just going up there and doing it. You're practicing the you're practicing the form. You're practicing the relationships between each other, getting familiar with each other, learning about each other, going through that, like learning where Steve is strong, where Darcy is strong, where Bill is strong. You just learn where people are really good so you can help to serve them up just like they would help to serve you up. And you just practice the format. I mean, that's it. And the more you get up there and do it, then we do it in front of an audience. It's a whole different thing, because then you're dealing with the energy of the audience. You're dealing with laughter. You're dealing with no laughter. I mean, sometimes audiences don't react to something and you might be thinking, oh my God, that was brilliant what he just did. They're not reacting to it. And then some other random little thing, it like kills, and the audience is like, bellied over or so.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't practice lines because we don't know what the lines are going to be, but we do practice techniques and forms and building relationships. And that's all important. That's how a scene can kind of come together. And that's what we practice, because we don't know what the lines or the situations are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So all we can do is practice our trade and not the actual. It's not like learning lines for a show or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys have explained that, because I can't tell you how many questions I've got from my family or friends that have said, improv rehearsal, isn't that an oxymoron? And so this little clip that you just did, I'm sending to a lot of people to say, this is what I'm doing on Sunday afternoons. Yeah.
Yeah, so leave me alone. Like, stop asking me that question. It's like, yes, you got to practice. And it is one of those things that the more you do it, it doesn't necessarily change nervousness, because, yeah, you do always get nervous about it. And it is always about like, ooh, how's it going to be received? What's going to happen? But that's why I love improv so much, is if we were just doing the same play every night, like I understand that that's fun and that's its own thing, but I love not knowing what's going to happen. There could be a moment that you can't even plan that's going to be the moment that everybody talks about when they leave the show. And that, to me, I think is what makes improv super exciting.
Yeah, that's the element for me too, is that you're jumping out of an airplane, and then once you're in the air, you're going to figure out if there's a parachute or what's going to happen. And that's that joy of improv, just jumping into it and just figuring out what it's going to be when you get there.
Yeah, and I would just add, what we get out of rehearsal as well is just not only learning about each other, but also knowing that, we all have each other's back. So we're jumping out of that airplane, but I know, geez, if I forgot my parachute, Steve's got an extra one for me on stage. So
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, and Bill, you did a great job of that. On just to speak for me on stage, in that group, because being a new person and you're taking kind of a leadership role, but not like telling people what to do, but just kind of helping guide people because you had such experience. So I really appreciate that. And we've got a couple other people who have been up on the stage who, again, just felt very supported and kind of like, yeah, there's no parachute, but go for it. We're going to catch you if you jump.
Yeah, and just to be clear with everybody, like we do not have parachutes on stage. We don't have any skydiving gear of any kind. It wouldn't be, the center wouldn't.
We were going to land a helicopter on stage, but they
We
couldn't
were.
get it in the back
it
door.
wasn't
Yeah.
in the budget. No.
It was the blades. If we had the helicopter blades that fold up and then down into a little tiny box the size of
we
like
could
a
have done
wedding
it.
ring.
We'll have to look at that for
Next
the
time.
show.
Next
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Let's talk about standout moments for you guys. Like just looking at something else that you saw that you're like, ooh, that was a really cool moment. It could be anything that happened at any point during the show. But think about it for a second while I remind everybody that there is another show coming on April 25th. And if you go to artsbonita.org and you look at performances, you're going to see the Improv Comedy Arts coming up on that day. So,
And at that show, there may or may not be a helicopter.
there will not be a helicopter.
Oh,
I'll just tell you
okay.
now. Just
All
if that's the only reason you're doing improv, Steve, is so that you can walk into the Mo Theater and see a helicopter on the stage, then you need to
Well,
figure something else to do with your
In
time.
1987, I think I saw it, or no, it was 88, on stage at Miss Saigon,
Saigon.
in London. Yeah,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
so I've always wanted that moment since then, but I guess I'll just keep wanting.
Yeah. No, it's good to be wanting.
Yeah.
It just keeps your energy focused.
And in case you're wondering, doors open at 7. Show starts at 7:30.
That's correct. Yeah.
And people were there early. I was stunned at how many people were there before 7, ready to get in. This was a new show for
Yeah,
folks. Yeah. Mhm.
And a
was a
great
great group.
turnout. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So you asked about one of the things that stood out to
Yeah.
you, and so I know a lot of the people that have been coming to the shows here for a long time, and a lot of them returned, which was so nice to see. That was a standout for me, is the audience supporting us after having been kind of off the stage for so long. The most important thing to me of it all, I think, was, and the second thing I noticed, is that everybody who I knew who had been to our shows before asked me, where did you get all these new people? They're great. They're amazing. They killed it. They were so complimentary of all the people we had on stage, because they didn't know them all. And, then reluctantly, I kind of announced in the show that a lot of these people had just been doing it for a short time, but everybody in the audience thought they were pros. They thought they'd been out there a lot. So that's the greatest compliment of all to the group, is that everybody thought they were seasoned performers. So
Yeah, huge. What about for you guys? Anything that stands out?
Oh, that feedback stands out because, certainly going into it, I didn't feel like it. I think the night before, Steve, you had read me a little inspirational poem or phrase or something, just because I wasn't doing this to perform. I was doing this to do the work with a group. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, we're going to have a performance and it's like a week away or 2 weeks. It was a little more than that. But I didn't think I was ready. And recognizing and having the encouragement from all of you just to say, you're never ready, so just get on with it. And that was very helpful. But I really was surprised knowing how much competition there is for events in our area this time of year, to have that many people show up with it not being, overly promote. It's hard to promote things in our area because there's just so much competition. So it was really nice to have that supportive audience.
Yeah, I think that was huge.
Absolutely.
Like especially for our first show,
Right.
and we got 115. So now we definitely have to get more than that for the April 25th show. We need to get at least 116,
Goals.
Yep.
and we're not going to
Goals.
include
not counting Bill's
Bill.
ticket.
Not
That's
counting
right.
Bill.
Okay.
You don't count Bill.
Yeah.
At least
So-
not in that way.
No, yeah, in other ways. So Bill, what about for you?
Yeah, well, I was a little annoyed because everyone kept saying, where are the parachutes? Where's the helicopter?
Mhm.
But, standout moments, definitely. We were talking about this earlier today, and they came to the jam today. We had 2 audience members, a husband and wife, Sean and Janet, I believe. And it was just like improv gold. Like the game involved us interviewing them and about highlights and how they met and how they got married. And I have to say that I wish that game went on for like 40 minutes because we did not have enough time to cram in all of the wonderful things that they told us about in their life, from creepy piano player that was in their honeymoon suite to swimming in a fountain in front of a Naples hotel. So I think just it goes to someone else just made this point of we had an amazing audience and a brave audience because people were more than happy to volunteer, and that just makes for a great show.
They were gold too. They were, the important thing is they answered all the questions honestly, and then they let us kind of have fun with it, and they had fun with us too. And that when you don't strike that often, just their honesty and their forthcomingness, and then they wanted to play. They wanted to have fun, and that made it all the better.
Yeah, and Sean actually came up after the show and told me that I was more convincing Janet than Janet herself.
That's the ultimate kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that it was nice to
What about you,
see
John?
that.
What do you think was your?
Well, first of all, can I respond to what we just talked about?
Oh, yeah,
Because
sorry.
I wanted to take what you just said and reiterate it, even though it's been said 3 times. I think it's so important. It was like they were good because they were honest about their stuff, so like that's when you say it's comedy gold, when people get up there and they really tell their story. They're not trying to do anything funny. They're just like saying, hey, yeah, this is what happened. And then you can't make that stuff up.
Yeah.
So that's where you go, we got kind of lucky because people could just be mundane. We got married. This happened. Like, oh, okay. Well, did anything weird happen? It's like we didn't even have to ask if anything weird happened. They were just like, yeah, there was a piano player in the corner and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Well, I think that the Till Death Do Us Part, that part of the show was fun. It is something that we plan to do on a regular basis because we love that audience interaction and that piece of them being up there. I did see a few clips. My daughter, Sienna, had filmed some of the clips. So maybe we'll do, if I can, I think that I can. I think I'm going to play a quick clip that we can just, I'll splice in and then I'll come out of it. So let's just watch a quick clip from the show.
Awesome.
Johnny! 2 more beers!
You don't have to yell it right here.
I do have to yell because you take so much time, Johnny.
Yeah, do it the best I can. You want these beers, you can't take forever.
I know, but I need 2. I need 1 in each hand so I deliver the right message.
I'm so nervous. I mean, my last relationship was
Thank
a
you.
train wreck.
Thank you, Johnny.
But I gotta get out there.
Gordy's might be the place to
oh,
meet your
no.
dream spouse.
Okay, here I go. Wish me luck.
Good luck, good luck. I'm not going in that dive.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What? What is your name, sweet little angel?
Janice. No, Janet, I'm so nervous.
Well, my name is Don. Sean! Sean.
Hello, an aggressive man.
Well, baby, you're gonna love me.
So, you're the kind of guy that loves to jump right into something, right?
Yeah. Speaking of which, yo, piano player, play something nice!
I love the piano.
It's a dive bar. Hanging out at the dive bar. We can sing at the dive bar, but everything smells like booze. At the dive bar, everybody's singing at the dive bar. Don't know the words at the dive bar. We met! But then we fall in love, and we find it like
That is Orion. And that's Orion of the sky. And that's Pegasus. And that's Bright Star.
It's part of the Big Dipper, isn't it?
In high school, my name was the Big Dipper.
Don't say.
No, I just said it. So listen, I know we just met and we both smell a little bit like beer and pee.
Love that, Gordon's.
But I'm thinking we take this to the next level. Let's go to my car, okay?
So yeah, that was from the "Till Death Do Us Part" section, and you can hear them like ringing the bell and honking the horn and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like adds to the fun of the experience because there's all that interaction from them. You get like the it's like the affirmation. It's like yes, this is what it was like, and then there's disagreements and things like that. It's fun to watch. I'm glad that you had brought this up as a possibility to do in this show because I think it was one of the highlights.
I agree. Yeah,
yeah.
It went off really well, and I think their honesty and they're willing to have fun made it go so well. And I heard that bell ringing a couple times from her. That she's hammering that bell away, so they enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I have to admit, we did not plan this, but they had a story about a creepy piano player, and we just so happened to have a piano player that played creepy.
And he's a very good piano player.
Yes.
It's very hard for him.
He can actually play the piano very well. That wasn't showcasing his talent.
And that was very helpful through a couple of the scenes, to have just that piano background. And Ralph does such a nice job. But then when he had to play the creepy, it just pulled it out. It was great.
Yes, Ralph Crummins on the piano.
Yep.
It was very cool. It does help. Like I said, when we're doing that and he's playing that little piano, it just makes me feel like I want to dance or sing or do something because it feels like you're just supposed to do that when you hear music. If you were in a bank and you started hearing music in your head, wouldn't you start like dancing at the bank?
If you want security to meet you and take you out, but
absolutely not.
I only do that in the grocery store. I dance
Now
in
the grocery store, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, grocery store makes sense. So okay, cool. What about just what was it like before the show for each of you? I'm just wondering, like, do you do anything in particular to prepare for a show the day of, and do you do anything in particular to prepare the week leading up? Just curious if anybody has anything that they do from a normal place.
I prepared for that day by going to work, and then then I left work early and came over and hosted a showcase of the kids that I teach, and that blurred right into the start of our thing. So yeah, it was a kind of a hectic day, but I think that's good. It kept me kind of out of my head. One of the things I get nervous about is the logistics of the show and the pace of the show, sometimes more than everything else. And so that's what I worry myself with. Does everybody know what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to be doing it? And I thought it went very well. I was happy with everything, but that's where I kind of focus my energy. But I don't have any pre-show rituals other than one that we did as a group where we try to offer what we're going to do in that show, whether it's something we're going to not do or we're going to do more that we need to focus on. And that's one of my rituals is try to get in that mindset of a show by saying what I'm going to do or what I'm not going to do in this show that, is either something that I do well or something I struggle with. So
I definitely felt a little bit of issues with all the practicing because we had done, just for those of you who don't know, because it was our first show and because we were working with all of us for the most part being new in terms of working with each other. I mean, you guys had experience working with each other, but everybody else was new. So it was one of those things where we would bring a lot of energy during the rehearsals. And I think a week out, I was like, I think we need to start toning down our energy. It's really hard for me to do that. And then by the time I got to the show, I definitely felt the effects of like a lot of energy output. And then in the show, I felt the effects of energy output, like especially after doing Till Death Do Us Part. And you're just like, oh my God, there's so much energy output going on. So for me, like leading up to it, I'm like doing the emergency packs, like maybe once a day just to avoid getting sick. trying to drink more water than usual to make sure that my throat's not going to get all dry, like while I'm in the middle of a performance. My biggest fear is always like getting congested, just getting sick or something like that. So I'm always like, that's more what I'm thinking about. I'm not worried about how the show's going to be or anything. It's more just about making sure I can bring myself and not half of myself or a quarter of myself or an eighth of my, or like a 16th of myself. Like
no portions.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No
yeah,
portions.
that's what I
Yeah.
want to say before we get too far down that road. I don't like, I want to be all in, you know? On the day of, I think it's just about getting together backstage and doing like what you said. I like that, you know, like, hey, what's something you're going to focus on for today? We also do a few of the warm-up games just to get our minds kind of in the right place. And that game that we played this time, the bunny, 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 and then they're like, toki, 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 toki. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? It must have looked so interesting for those who were in the audience before the show, like family members that might have been chilling there.
I think I actually saw several leave, so we probably would have had 125.
Well, and there was a show right before, so we didn't really have a lot of time until you had to open up the crowd to come in. So we had to warm up pretty quickly. And I think, you know, your point about energy management, that was something I was watching, because when I do my day job, you know, sometimes if I'm doing speaking or have a big meeting, I am just conscious of, am I focused and present and am I here? This was something different, and I could have come in all scattered, and I really did try to, you know, tune everybody out a couple hours before and just, you know, be really calm and do a little 5-minute meditation, and then just come in and say, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. The clock's going to take care of itself. 2 hours is going to go by, and, you know, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about for you, Bill?
Well, I've been doing it for at least 10 years. I always start with 40 pull-ups, and then I bench about 300. Yeah. For those of you viewing, you know, the camera definitely takes away a lot of muscle mass. But
And by pull-ups, you're talking about the little diapers that
Yes.
you don't need
Yes.
to tape. They actually just pull those on up. Yeah, gotcha.
I'm a grown-up kid. So, anyways, like Steve, it's a good thing. I was working all day, and so I came right from work. And
By the way, I was working too. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I was working as well. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So thank you. So it does help you keep out of your head. And so I don't really have a routine. I try to just, kind of just mentally just try to not get in my head. And I love the warm-ups because it kind of totally gets you prepared for the show. And I have to go back to the logistics because I was laughing because Steve does worry about that. And we had a little logistical problem. We didn't have any music queued up for the crowd while they were waiting for about half an hour. But I do want to thank John because he had his own personal Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
It was greatest hits of Lawrence Welk, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or a 15-year-old girl, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Or a mix.
Yeah, what was that mix, John?
It was my daughter who made the mix,
Okay.
and she.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yes,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
you
So
should.
good, so good.
She's very into a lot of. She tried
That
to
was like indie, right? It was.
Yeah,
was
she
very
tried. She's
indie.
got her. She's definitely got her stuff. But I was like, "Can you put a playlist together for me?" And she did.
Nice.
Some of the songs are, a lot of times you want to put like the high energy stuff, to build stuff up. So hey, we'll get it all worked out. We'll get it all worked out.
Thank her for doing that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I will,
really
and
feel
I
like
did.
a jerk right now. So
And-
I hope you're not watching this. So, John, could you make sure your daughter doesn't watch this?
Yeah, for
it's good
sure.
to have a little emo.
I was
in
teasing
there.
your father. I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
teasing
I'll
you.
definitely tell her not to watch this. But Sienna, you, it was great what you did, and don't listen
It was.
to Bill.
It was.
Thank you, Sienna.
You know, one of the other things, John, that I think we should bring up is our show was on Friday, and I think on Thursday night we put together a final games order of what we were
Yeah.
going to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I emailed it to you at 11, and you maybe were getting ready to go to bed and said, "Sure, looks great." And then Friday came, and we just pulled it off. So, in the true improv sense, we didn't know what we were going to play, who was going to play what. And
Or who was going to perform with us? We didn't even know that.
right until really the day of the night
y-
before we put together some games. So
Yeah.
we practiced all this stuff and we had these intentions of what we would do, And then we kind of at the last minute said, well, let's just do this instead. And it came off very well. I think,
Yeah.
I was pleased with it. But
Even in intermission, you were looking at the time and you were looking at the audience and listening
Yeah,
to
we
the
cut-
energy.
we cut a
and
game
saying,
for a
hey,
time.
it's 9 o'clock or what have you. Let's move this a little tighter. And I could tell you, my mom and her boyfriend, who are 80 and 83 respectively, appreciated that because they were ready to, get moving and get on the way, but they enjoyed it. So, but a little longer might have been a little late.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think we're going to try to hit that 40 minutes for the first act and then have the intermission and then 30 minutes for the second act and be done. I think we went over, did we go over an hour? We went over an hour
I think
for
so
the
in the
first
first
act.
half. Mhm.
It's always hard when you get to 5 things because it changes.
Should
You
go
just
fast
don't
or
know
slow.
how.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know. You don't know what it's going to be. So we got to have a good way to monitor time, which we'll do. And the funny thing is, a lot of us have done a lot of improv shows, and but it still just takes you always got to reinvent and recreate. Like, oh yeah, I'm used to just getting to the point where you just show up, you perform, and you do your thing, and that's it. But there was all this stuff that went into getting the routine down and everything, and now I'm like, oh, we got to like establish what that routine is and what our own rituals are and things like that. So it's
We started about 15 minutes late too. I think there was such a line at the door to get in that
yep.
Oh, they were
there's
parking.
another show, there's parking issues, and we had so many people, which is a good thing. So we started quite a bit late, but overall it was a little bit long.
Yeah. Well, speaking of it being a little bit long, let's show one more clip from the show and then we'll talk about it, even though we don't know what clip I'm going to find that we're going to put there. But when we come back in, we'll discuss it. Oh my God, that was so weird when that happened. That I almost forgot that happened.
I know. I mean, it was like I've never seen it before.
You were great in that, though. The way that you just moved from this to that. I mean, you just
so
jumped
physical.
in.
So physical.
Now I got to find
I
a
know.
clip of Bill being physical
Thank you.
to put it in there.
I'll make sure that I'm in it now.
That'll be good.
Those
Yeah,
faces, those faces were great.
That's good. I'll do a homage to Bill, and I will show you all of the things that Bill can do.
Do
and
we
it will blow
want
your
someone to
mind.
watch this podcast again? I don't recommend it.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do. Why don't we play an improv game right now? Okay.
That's a good idea.
I think I want to play the game where I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to introduce Steve, but I'm going to give Steve a quirk that he then, when he says to me, when I pass it to Steve, he's going to tell a story really quickly about something we did together. Like he'd be like, oh yeah, I remember when John and I went to such and such. It was fun. It's not going to be a long story, but whatever quirk I give him, he's going to incorporate that into his into anything that he says. And then he's going to introduce Darcy and he's going to give her a quirk. And then you're going to listen to that quirk and try to incorporate that into your answer, where you're going to recall a fun story that you had with Steve.
Am I telling the truth or am I lying?
You lie all day long. You definitely, it's
Wait, do we have a lot of stories where we were together?
yeah.
No, a
I
couple
mean,
maybe.
doesn't have to be Steve. You can make up names. You can make up whatever. It's more about listening to what the person is giving you and trying to incorporate that into your answer. But the process is, I'm going to say, hi, my name is Joseph, and I am a tennis ball champion. I would like to introduce Steve. Steve likes to end all of his statements with a question.
That's true. I think, why do you find so much entertainment with a tennis ball?
See, just like that. So that's how it would go. And then he would introduce you and he's going to give you something. And we're just going to keep going. We're just going to try to do them quick and we'll maybe go around a few times and then we'll end it there.
Do not try this at home. Steve is a professional.
Yes, he is. So we'll go with that. Are we ready? Are we
Sure.
ready?
Rock and roll.
Okay, here we go. Improv game for our second improv episode. Okay. Hi, my name, of course, is Michael Jones, and I am a professional chef. But my friend here, Steve, I wanted to introduce you to. He's amazing at secrets, and he also tends to tell things that are very obviously lies, but he likes to present them like they're real.
Yeah, it's good to meet you. I'm glad you came to my Michelin 5-star restaurant. Thank you for joining me here today. And I wanted to let you know that, well, I've been reviewed 7 times by Michelin, and all 7 times were 5 stars. In fact, it got so boring that I took the plaque down and I don't have it up anymore. But I wouldn't be who I am today without my sous chef. She's standing right next to me. Her name is Darcy. Now she's so much passion for cooking that every time she uses her cooking, she likes to use lemons, and she always makes a face like she's just sucked on a lemon after every statement she says. Darcy, say a few words.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Well, one of my very favorite recipes is this sweet cake with a lot of frosting. And the frosting is butter and it's cream, and there's no fruit in it because we don't want fruit, because fruit can be very, very sour. But the person who loves my cake the most is our best customer, and that is Bill. But Bill only eats with his hands, and his nose, his sense of smell is very, very refined. So, Bill, tell us about the. Oh, yes.
Your cake, it's so good. I just want to eat it. I just want to. Can I have some, please?
Yes, but it's only butter.
Oh, so good. I just want to. Can I be alone with your cake? But before I
prefer it that way.
Before I get some alone time with this sweet, sweet buttercream, I want to introduce my friend John. He's got a short-term memory. In fact, every sentence he says, he forgets what he said in the previous sentence. John.
Yes. Hi, my name is John. I love the mountains, and my name is John. So when I go hiking in the mountains, I always, because there's like, you know how when you get like a new bag of cookies, and you open that up, right? And you're like, you want to get that one, that one, you're like, this one is the best. And it's like you don't have your shoes anymore, and you know that you put them somewhere. You put them on the shoe rack, and then you go back to the shoe rack. There's no more Cheez-Its in the bag, and I need to get more Cheez-Its from my friend Sven to my right here. He's a wonderful man who is a professional juggler, and he always says every other word twice.
I'm Sven. Sven. Got that one? That one? Oh, watch. Now I'll do two. And one. And back to two. 3, 4. Let me set these balls down, and introduce you to my friend, Maria. Maria always talks in sign language, but they're baseball call signs with fingers on the eyes and nose and face and up the arm to do baseball calls.
And Maria, I don't want to interrupt, but just to let you know, John, there's something going on with check device power. So I don't know if that's affecting the beautiful podcast that we're running here.
Don't worry, it's all good. It's the monitor that's out.
Okay.
But I have everything going through here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I thought you
Thank
were
you,
trying to
Maria.
save me
Okay.
from. You were saving me from having to know my baseball signs, but really, we could have a home run if I now hand it off to David, who likes to dance in his chair.
Wish I could see myself in that video because I am dancing so good. Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do I got to do this forever while John fixes the AV? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ah, man, I got so many moves and such little time. I got to turn it over to my boy, Bobby. Bobby here. Oh, boy. He sounds very Scottish in everything that he says.
Hey, I totally do. You're right. I do every time. I get up in the morning and I just, I want me Lucky Charms. And they're looking at me. The bowl is staring at my face. And I tell you, I go, never going to eat your Lucky Charms because I don't like processed marshmallows. I like real marshmallows that you can grow in the fields outside your farm. So thank you. I appreciate you introducing me. And I look forward to having some good intimate times with you later.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yes, great, wonderful. And scene. We'll stop there.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll do that. Yes, don't worry. There is still an image.
Okay.
It's just not being displayed on
Okay.
the monitor.
So you
Okay?
wouldn't want people to miss
I-
your dancing in
No,
the seat. That
well, I
was
hope
great.
they did,
Yeah.
but-
I have all this stuff. The only problem is with this monitor and the battery that's on the back of it that has died. And I saw it staring at me blinking most of the time. Anyway, we're going to just say a quick go around the table. Everybody say, I don't know, final parting thought. And then we're going to go our separate ways until the next podcast.
My final parting thought is thank you to all our audience members who came out to our show. You were wonderful. You were a great audience, and we expect to see you back. We hope you'll come back. It's going to be more mayhem. Every game that we play, everything that we do will be completely different. So come back and see us on Friday, April 25th at 7:30 p.m. for more fun and mayhem. And again, thank you for your support of local theater.
Being part of a community means getting involved. And I'm so grateful that you all have created an opportunity for more people like me in the community to be involved. And I hope, like Steve said, that people come out and support us, but also come and get involved in the improv jam and other classes that are here at artsbonita.org.
Perfect.
Ditto to all that. I am on this improv journey. I wouldn't want to be on it with anybody else but all of you and our other players and our great audience. And lastly, and most importantly, Sienna, I loved that playlist.
Yes, I'm sure she'll appreciate
Thank
that,
you.
Bill. Thank you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So, Bill, Darcy, Steve, thank you so much. Until next time,
Thank you,
enjoy.
John. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Sean.
thank you, all three of you, very, very much. Anyway, that's the end of our podcast. We'll see you next time.